Welcome back to the Means Report. So glad you are with us on this life-saving edition. What a great talk we had during our first segment about the need for organ donors, not only in Georgia and South Carolina, but throughout the country. And getting back to our community, there's another huge need, and that's the need for blood donors. You know, we push drives on occasion on the newscasts, but we don't talk about the daily, hourly need for blood. It is great, and you can help. And I have two gentlemen here who are going to give you some big-time reasons why, and I'm glad that they're with us today. We have Brian Shirley, who is a pediatric nurse practitioner. Thank you, working in the burn unit at Doctors Hospital. Y'all do such fine work at the Joseph M. Still Center, and thank you for what you do every day. We appreciate it so much. You ready? You okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're going to be great. We had to tell Brian he had to speak up loud and strong here today, and so he's going to be belting out his reasons for blood donation in just a moment. Also, Dave Willis, by profession, the pastor of Stevens Creek Church, but when he's not doing that, he's donating blood. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
I can't wait to get into your blood donation practices in just a moment. You'll see how easy it is and how rewarding. But first, Brian, I want to talk to you. You know, just looking at the statistics here, every 2 seconds somebody needs blood. 1 out of every 7 hospital patients needs blood. Working with the people you do at the Burn Center, would you say that's your #1 thing you need, right up there with skin and blood?
Right there together, yes, sir. The skin is probably the most important thing, and blood would be a very, very close second.
Why do you need so much blood in your profession? Is it lost during surgery or during the burns themselves? Please talk about that.
Well, unfortunately, when someone's burned, especially if it's a large burn, you know, greater than 20–30% of their total body surface area, when it's affected, you have to get rid of the burn tissue, and that has to be excised and gotten rid of, otherwise infection will set in. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, if you're dealing with skin and you're cutting skin off, then you're going to bleed. Bleeding is our #1 problem in the operating room, something that can't be avoided though. You have to know that the tissue beneath is healthy, and to know that it needs to be bleeding.
So do you go through a lot of blood every day, every procedure, and so you're constantly depleting your supplies? I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is you're never really able to just rest and say we've got plenty.
No, it's a constant need. When you have someone, like I say, with a large surface area burned, and you go back to the operating room, you may lose 300–400 cc's of blood in a case, and that's a big one, and that's a big burn.
Sure.
For your normal day-to-day burns, it's usually not that bad, so that your body can replenish it by itself. But when you have these really sick patients, especially in my case, the pediatric population, and you've taken 40% of their skin off, and there's a significant blood loss, then you have to know that that blood's waiting on you while you're in the operating room and being infused while you're there. If the blood's not there, you can't do the surgery.
You know, one of the key components of blood donation that is constantly pushed by our friends at the Shepherd Community Blood Center is the need to act before an emergency strikes, act before Brian goes to work, to make sure that those shelves are full when the need arises. And one of the people who helps make sure that the shelves are as full as they can possibly be is you, Dave. Talk about what got you into blood donation and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, well, the first time I gave blood, I was 17, and I gave because I wanted to get out of class. You know, we were having a blood drive at school. They said, well, if you give blood, you can get out of French class. And so that's all I had to hear. And so I went, that was it. You know, no French for an hour. And so I went not knowing what to expect, scared to death of needles, but more scared of French. So I went to give, and when I did, I was surprised by how easy the whole process went, and realizing that I'm actually helping somebody here. I mean, I had a limited skill set. You know, I think we all want to be a part of changing the world, but I'm thinking, how can I do that in a simple way as a junior in high school? And I realized that was a simple way that I could actually make a real difference in the community. So ever since then, I've been doing it pretty consistently. I just got into the habit, and it's been very fulfilling.
Well, and makes a real difference in the community is such a key part of what you said, because all the blood donated at Shepherd stays right here and helps people. And remember, every day is an emergency for somebody, so just donating and having it available is a huge, huge gesture on anybody's part. The thing about blood donation that a lot of people don't realize is how often you can do it. As you study some of the statistics on the screen there, you can donate every 8 weeks. Just remember that, 8 weeks or 56 days, and it can help somebody. Talk about the donation procedure itself. Can you get us past the fear of the needle? Is that moment painful? Does it last a long time? Kind of, Dave, take us through what it's like in that chair.
It's absolutely terrifying. No, I'm just
Great.
kidding. You know, it's really not. That's what I was expecting.
The shepherd lady is throwing something at you now.
I promise it is not. That's well, the first time I did it. That's what I was expecting. But It wasn't at all. They were so professional. They know what they're doing. I mean, these folks, they've done this thousands and thousands of times, and you barely even feel it. And I'm serious. They're not paying me to exaggerate. You know, I'm here to say it's a pretty quick and simple process. And the center they have here in town now, the Shepherd Community Blood Center, from the time you walk in, you just feel like a pampered guest. I mean, they take great care of you. You're hanging out, you're watching TV. Maybe if the means report is on, that's of course what you're watching.
It will be, okay, good. Yeah, we want to be in the blood center. We want to be in Shepherd.
So you're hanging out, you're watching that, and you forget where you are. You feel like you're just relaxing at home, and then once you're finished, you know, they give you a T-shirt, a snack, you hang out, you hardly want to leave. So they take good care of you.
Okay, so cookies, free cookies, are still a part of it.
That's right.
Good.
Free cookies are definitely a big incentive. You know, the free T-shirt's nice, but the free snacks, it's really the icing on the cake.
Brian, take us back in the OR and take us to the moment when you use that blood, when the bags come in from the fridge and you're in there doing your job. I'm guessing, and this is really for all the non-medical professionals watching, the difference is immediate. The things that it does for that patient is immediate once you use it, right?
It is. It's almost a relief for us because we're constantly going, okay, where's the blood? Where's the blood? And once it comes in the room, you're like, okay, I can continue doing what I need to do to get this burned tissue off and to get this person on the road to recovery. The blood, once it's infused, you know, if they're having trouble with the heart rate, blood pressure begins to go up. Their oxygen delivery, which is what keeps the tissue healthy, is improved just by the red blood cells being infused. I think it's important to know too that, you know, when good people like this donate blood, it's broken down into multiple parts that are used for different reasons. The most common, what people think of, is the red blood cells, the packed red blood cells, which carries your hemoglobin, carries your oxygen, and keeps you healthy and keeps you alive. But the good folks at Shepherd, when they get your whole blood from your donation, they spin it down, they take the red blood cells out, put that separately, they take the plasma out, put it separately, and they take the platelets out. And each one of those is useful in a different way to us. Like I say, the red blood cells are the most common. That's what most people think of, and that's the most commonly thing used. But once you've lost enough blood, the red blood cells aren't enough, and you need the other components of your blood. So you need platelets to help you clot. You need plasma, so that the factors which allow your body to make the platelets are there. It's all very amazing.
Let me ask you just a question about your feelings. You chose this profession, you chose this specialty. Just take us through what it must feel like to come out of a procedure, to have all the tools you need while you're there, and to see somebody, a burn patient, transition from inpatient to outpatient to normal person again. It's got to be huge.
It's an amazing feeling. And I've got a little fella that fortunately right now today is on his way to rehab out of our unit, which is amazing. Came in with 31% of his body, third-degree burns. He had multiple excisions to get all of the burned skin off and get him where he's healthy again. We had folks from LifeLink and different donation places give us enough cadaver skin to get him where he's healthy and ready for a skin graft from himself. And we actually had some good folks at a company called Genzyme grow him some skin because he just happened to be burned in all the places that you take the skin from usually.
Sure.
So that little fella, 6 years old, burned with gasoline, and could have died at the scene, made it to us. We did what we do, and today he'll be at Scottish Rite Rehab, and a week from now he'll be home.
Oh, it's awesome. What an awesome story. You know, it's not just a needle in the arm, it's not just a free cookie, we have fun, but it's real. It impacts people. Blood donation does. You're celebrating something big in the world of blood donation. Tell us about your milestone and how good that must feel.
Well, here locally with Shepherd, recently hit the 1 gallon mark.
Wow.
And so I just want to challenge people to make it consistent, because the blood in the community, I kind of see it like milk in our house. We've got 3 young boys, so I'll buy a gallon of milk, I'll go home and think, well, that'll last us for the week. And then the next day at lunch, my wife's calling and say, bring home a gallon of milk. You know, the boys have gone through it. It's
so
just,
true.
It has to be a consistent part of what we just kind of bring in. So for folks that are eligible to give, I say don't make it a once a year thing. You know, come every 8 weeks, because you're giving life. You know, you're helping people like the 6-year-old boy who just heroically recovered. And there are so many folks like that you're giving the gift of life to.
It's so true. I am so impressed by both of you all. You for working at the best burn center on the planet, and for saving young lives, 6-year-olds and younger and older, and for what you do each week at Stevens Creek Church, and for your blood donation. Thank you for that, Brian and Dave.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you all very much. Happy Easter to you.
Thank you, sir.
Same to you.
When the Means Report continues, we are going to tell you how you can help shape future editions of this broadcast. We'll also let you know how you can answer our question of the week. In the meantime, start planning your first blood donation, won't you? Or if you're a donor already, keep doing it. The folks at Shepherd would love to see you. We'll be right back.